Rowan, just obviously we've seen the squad today. What can you let us into any possible changes you might be mulling over for Friday?
James Bentley's in the picture for sure. But otherwise, we've been playing reasonably well over a period of time. I feel a couple of little hiccups along the way, perhaps, but there won't be a lot of changes this week. We've got a couple of sort of niggles to check over that'll likely be okay, but a few things to check over there in the morning before we sort of finalise our team.
Aidan obviously picked up a couple of knocks last week. Is there any doubt over his participation?
No, he's fully trained today and trained really sharp, and he's had a pretty good week of prep generally.
So are you looking, if possible, to try and keep to the same team each week? Do you see continuity as a real strength at the moment?
I also see continuity as a danger. So, trying to find a decent blend of the two. Obviously, we had some disruption around dummy half situation earlier in the season, and that's sort of started to show its path. We've been reasonably settled around the spine then. And Ash obviously showed that he can support us there at fullback as well last weekend. So, continuity is important, but also being adaptable and versatile is important as well over the duration of the season.
Is there any update on Morgan Gannon's sort of phased return?
Gano did well on the weekend. We're planning on getting a bunch more contact done over the next couple of weeks and lots of practice done. While some guys are on lighter duties, he'll be working hard in this next little period, and after the international break, he'll be well and truly back into the full mix, and no doubt will force his way in.
Have you got any gauge on how many of your England call-ups might be needed next week?
I've had no indication of who may or may not get selected.
Because you've got 5, haven't you? 5 in the 40. I've not seen it being trimmed down. Is there any possibility of all 5 featuring, do you think?
Wouldn't have a clue. I'm sure all 5 would do a good job if selected. I'm not sure what the strategy is there around that match with France.
Rohan Smith, if he plays on Friday, will make his 100th Super League appearance for Leeds. Just evaluate his contribution to the side.
I feel he's made a very good contribution. He signed an extended deal in the off season or the preseason, and sometimes players get a little cozy when they sign a long-term deal. Where the opposite happened with Cam. He had a little clean out on his elbow. He's trained harder and got himself into the best shape of his life. He looks like a different athlete out there, but still the same player with his skill. He's working on his D. He's building an all-round game. He's still got a lot of improvement in him, as he says more than anyone. But he's made a really good contribution on the field. He's also a fantastic person and leader amongst our group, and doing great things with a little side project coffee business that he has as well. So he's a goer in life, that guy, and he makes a great contribution to our corporate partners, our sponsors, our fans. He's one of the club favourites. So yeah, hard to speak anything but good about Cam.
What about Leigh? What's your take on them at the moment?
Well, they've battled really hard this season. I think they recruited well last season in preparation for a promotion. So they've had a bunch of their core players have spent a fair amount of time together. And then they've added some other quality players and some experienced players that we know very well to their mix as well. So they're a dangerous team, and that home ground atmosphere and event that they create there is one that we can look forward to stepping into and creating a good spectacle there on Friday.
Just on a broader issue, if you're able to comment, Rowan, the grading proposals were passed today. Are you able to say how significant a day it might be for the sport today?
I haven't spent any time on that stuff. it's not really something that I can influence or influences how I go about things. So that's above me at board and CEO level.
Talking of significant days, it was a year ago tomorrow that the club announced your appointment as head coach. Happy anniversary, first of all. And how do you reflect on the last 12 months?
I actually wasn't aware of that. I sort of judged things by what day I arrived last year, but yeah, the work's definitely started before I got here. Yeah, it feels like a long time ago, but it also feels like it's gone, really fast. A lot's happened with performances and roster, and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to look back when you review each week so comprehensively and thoroughly, and you spend a lot of time trying to improve on last week, that it's hard to reflect on the whole way. But it's been there's never a dull moment. Sort of, there's always something going on, whether it would be in those early periods, it was judiciary and recruitment and retention stuff, and then we went on a bit of a run towards the playoffs and did well, and then the preseason starts, and it all sort of, then it's Boxing Day all of a sudden, and it's gone really fast. But I feel like it's been a productive journey in as I've said before, the club feels in a good place when I arrived, and I think we're in a better place now as well. We've built on what came before. There was a solid roster there and solid junior players and stuff, and we've just given them a bit of an opportunity, and things are trending in the right direction. But we've got a lot to do, and this weekend against Leigh is a very big game for us, we feel.
Just lastly for me, when you took over, you stressed that you were a development-minded coach. Is there any development or change that you can point to that you're more proud of than anything else over the last 12 months?
Yeah, the battle is always developing players, but winning today as well. That's my previous role, I had the same mentality. We're always trying to develop for next year, but trying to win this year as well. So that's the daily battle, is to give young players opportunity to step forward and solidify the future, but also everyone wants to be following a winning team and a team that's performing highly. So getting that blend right, which I think the group that we have right now is a really good, nice mix of youth and experience. And I'm looking forward to a really tough, hard battle on Friday and seeing what we can produce there.
You mentioned earlier that continuity being a good thing, but you said it could always also be a danger. Could you just explain what you meant by that?
Well, I think the way that some coaches choose to go about, always picking the same team if it's available, or training with the same team all the time in practice, it works well until one or two players aren't available, or if the injuries or team selections or whatnot. Injuries, judiciaries, form, etc. As soon as you have to make some changes, that sometimes people aren't adaptable enough if you haven't practiced that. So continuity is important, but also making sure that the right people for the occasion and for the week ahead is the battle.
A nice situation to be in, though, isn't it? Having to choose who to leave out rather than struggling to name 21, which you probably were for much of last season.
Yeah, I spoke about it with the players in the preseason, that it would take a squad to win, and it takes a squad to win each week, and all of the players in the group play a role, whether they're number 35 on the roster or number 1. They all play a role in how we prepare and how we compete in training and practice against each other. And their development at the bottom end of the roster is helping us in the future, even if they're not aware of it right now. So it is a good position to be in, but the proof is in the performance on Friday.
Would you be tempted to start with Ash at fullback and maybe Myler in the halves this week? It obviously went quite well under enforced circumstances last week. Is that an option?
It's an option, but that won't be the option. Ash did do well, and Richie did well in the halves also. But I've got belief and trust in our halves, and there'll be opportunity for Ash to play fullback and play some more centre during the season, no doubt. And his versatility has been shown, which is great.
How far off is Jack Sinfield from getting a first team game? I think he's been going pretty well in the reserves, from what I understand. Scored a couple of tries last week, but obviously you've been taking a cautious approach with him. Is he ready to slot in if needed?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's really improved through the preseason, and his performances in academy and reserves early in the season have been very mature, tough, and good team orientated halfback performances. So yeah, I think he's ready to jump in when the opportunity is there for him.
Just last one from me on Luke Hooley. I think he had a good game for Batley against Bradford last week, from what I hear. Have you been monitoring? You've obviously been monitoring his performances. You pleased with the way he's going at Batley on his loan spell? He's
responded really well. He's gone back to Batley, which is a comfortable sort of environment for him, a familiar one. But he's gone back there and competed well. He did play well against Bradford on the weekend. He's got plenty to build on, but he's got a good solid couple of games under his belt, which has been good for him. He'll be back in doing some work with us in the next few weeks, and then we'll assess what happens for him after that.
Are you going to let him play in the cup this week? Obviously, it'd be cup tide, or he's not eligible for that.
No,